Hi, I'm Nas. I'm the CEO and founder of Rebel and the author of Developer Life and the maintainer of the Rebel 2-week crates. I believe that open source comes from an open heart and from the joy of coding. In today's video, we're going to talk about, or I'll show you how to configure Ubuntu 25.10 so that if you're using LUKS, full disk encryption, typically you have to type in the password when your computer boots, and then once that happens, then you might have to type a password again to log into your account, depending on how you have that configured. But at the very least, the boot password is required for LUKS. And that happens in initramfs, so even before the system boots. So essentially, if that step isn't completed, then the system can't be booted. And for remote systems, like I have a home lab and a bunch of servers, rebooting them has always been, I had to think about it a lot because I'd have to then go and physically type in the password or whatever. I didn't have like what do you call those things? Those things that you can remotely connect to systems. There's different ways of doing this, but yeah. So essentially, before the system boots without using SSH, there's ways to do it, but I didn't want to do with any of that. So with Ubuntu 25.10, it has experimental support for essentially typing, or not typing, providing the password for LUKS, storing it in the TPM2.0 module if your computer has it. If it's a modern computer, it'll have it. I tested it on 4 machines. 3 of them worked. Those 3 were modern machines. There was one that was relatively old, like really old, like 5 years old, 6 years old, something like that. And it was a Dell XPS 13 laptop, and its TPM couldn't be modified. So whatever was put in there, probably for Windows, was locked in there forever. But I have a System 76 desktop. I was able to run this on HPZ workstation, no problem, and a ThinkPad laptop with AMD, no problem. So the first thing, if you wanna get this working, is you have to go into your UEFI BIOS settings and enable TPM, if you haven't already. That enables secure boot. It's a Microsoft thing with certificates. You can read up all about it. But yeah, Ubuntu now supports it, which is pretty awesome. So let me just walk you through what the steps are. And I have the instructions in the form of a markdown file. Actually just copy and pasted directly in the issue, and I'll put a link to this issue in the video. But yeah, I just have it on my computer here. So I'm just using my own text editor called Eddie. You can get that if you want from Rebel Open Core. That's the project that I'm the maintainer of. But yeah, it's a really nice markdown editor with syntax highlighting and all kinds of stuff. It's still experimental, but it looks really pretty. Gradient fills for headings and so on. So you can actually just, I can go through this real quick, but typically what you'll want to do is just give this to Claude Code and say, just get the settings for my machine and run these instructions. And what you will have to do is, Claude Code can figure out like the LUKS UUID and all kinds of stuff, like your LUKS device, but you do have to provide it, like this will, they can figure out all the stuff. What you do have to provide it as a safety precaution is a path to a folder where it'll back up all the settings that it's modified. So if you have LUKS configured and if you already have a password, a passphrase to unlock your disk at boot time, that password does not go away. If any of this fails, you can still fall back to using that passphrase. So this is non-destructive, which is great. But if the first thing this will do is it'll require all the packages, install all the required packages. So Dracut is one of them. This is a new one. This generates initramfs, and then all the TPM tools that you might need. And then this goes and verifies that you have secure boot enabled. So that's pretty nice. This is that backup thing I was talking about. Basically just grabs whatever was there in case you need to roll back. Then the next step, this one you actually have to, even when you're running this in Claude Code or whatever, you have to run this command in a terminal, because it's gonna use, it's interactive. That means it uses readline to grab the password that you type in. So if you have this running inside of Claude Code more than likely just crap out. Worst case scenario, nothing happens, it'll time out. No, that's not worst case. Best case, it's not really best case. Probably it'll just time out. Worst case, it'll exit Claude Code itself. So be careful with this one. Type this in. And also make sure that like all this stuff like dev, nvmes, whatever, this is valid for your system when you run this command. But yeah, this is probably the hardest thing to do, is just run this in a terminal and type in your passphrase that you use to unlock your disk. Then once that's done, it just verifies and so this actually takes so for PCM there's like different modes. Mode 7, PCR 7 is like reasonable defaults. You can tweak this if you want. There's I think 3 or 4 other modes, but this is like it'll try to use the TPM module to unlock the disk. If it fails, it'll prompt you for the passphrase, which is kind of nice. And once you've done this, it'll tell you which slot it's put it in, and so like this is non-destructive. So if you have Windows, if you have like a Windows key or whatever, that might be in there. Whatever, you might have other things in there in the TPM module, but yeah, this way it'll just add it to one of them. So then this verifies that the enrollment is complete, and then this generates your initramfs, I think, and then, oh no, that doesn't generate initramfs. This just generates a temporary file, which will then be used to generate your initramfs. And then a crypt tab also needs to be updated. Basically, this is, you would have entries anyway for LUKS for this, only this just replaces it with the new stuff, which basically says use TPM to unlock it. And then regenerate your initramfs, update grub, and it verifies everything, and then reboot. And upon reboot, you shouldn't have to type in your password. So that's pretty much it. And then there's a whole bunch of verification steps, and these are commands you can use once you've gotten everything running in the future to, you know, see what the heck is going on with your like, let's run this, for example. So it goes stuff like this: slot type, you know, 0 is password, 1 is trusted, whatever, the TPM module. So yeah, and hopefully you won't have to deal with the TPM unlock stops working after updates. The PCR 7, this is the one that makes it so that this won't happen. But there's other TPM modes that you can use where it might actually stop working if you do a system update. So this is not the most draconian version. This is kind of like, it's nice. So that's why I kind of got this one. And then, yeah, and that's pretty much it. So yeah, it works. I've had it working for a while now. Ubuntu 25.10 is really nice. The only weird thing I've noticed is I use Intel B580 graphics cards, and they don't have the drivers for them come from the PPA, and their PPA hasn't been updated yet to supply the drivers for Ubuntu 25.10. So that's the only real downside. But other than that, Ubuntu 25.10 is really nice, and this TPM support is really nice quality of life improvement. So yeah, if you like the style of this video, please give me a thumbs up. If you like this kind of content, please subscribe. And yeah, if you want to see more Ubuntu Linux configuration videos, please let me know by adding a comment to this issue. I will link this issue to the description of this video. Thanks for watching, and have a good day.